This fun little percussion instrument originated in Mexico. It's called a matraca. So it is used for festivities and celebrations. You will oftentimes see these at football matches. And when I say football matches, I mean soccer games. I'm going to grab the parts and grab the tools, and we're going to go over how to make your very own. All right, so tools we are going to need today. A mallet, a small hammer would work. Something that you can tap in some dowels would work really well. Glue. I have here wood glue, but just general school glue would work just fine. I also have a couple clamps I'm going to use. If you don't have clamps, rubber bands would work really well. Tape will work as well. And let's talk about the pieces that you're going to have in your bag. The smallest of which is a tiny little nail. So we only need one of these. We don't even need a hammer to hit it in. I'll show you how that's going to go. You are going to have a 3D printed gear. You will notice that on one side of it, there's a slot, and that slot looks an awful lot like the nail. You're going to have two very small dowels, very short dowels. You're going to have a wooden reed. You're going to have a bigger dowel, and then you're going to have a couple pieces of wood that are identical, and they've got several holes in them. And they've got, if you look closely from the end, you'll notice there's a flat spot here, there's a little lip in here, and they will go together like this, and this is where those little lips come into play. And you'll see there's a space in there, and that space is important because that space is where this reed is going to go. This part here does not sit flat. It was supposed to, but it will still work just fine. You can always sand that down afterwards, or you can just not worry about it. It doesn't matter. We're going to grab our gear, we're going to grab our nail, and we're going to grab the big dowel. And what I want you to do is I want you to look at the holes on the big dowel. This one, both of them are pretty straight and through. Some of them, the reason they have two holes in them is because some of them got drilled in properly and the hole was off to one side. So I want you to look for the hole that goes through the straightest. You're going to put it through so that it's just sticking through halfway like that on the dowel. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your wooden gear, and it's important to note the orientation of the nail hole on the wooden gear. You want to make sure that that is lined up with the head of the nail. You're going to put that on here. This is where we need some tapping, and you want to make sure it's lined up as much as you can because it's really hard to turn this gear when it's on the wood. We can still do it. I'm going to get started, but I can't keep going like that because the dowel has to come through. I can gently tap it on the sides. I don't want to do that real hard because this could break, especially if I'm hitting it with a hammer. I'm going to try and push it down. I can't push this one down. Things you can do, I can take my clamp, which has got a hole in the middle, and I can stick this over that, and I can tap it down. But I can only tap it so far. The other thing I can do is I can take it to the edge of my table here. I can tap it some more, and this is not a great table. I'm going to tap that all the way down. If it gets close, I want to make sure that that nail is perfectly lined up so the head can go in the slot right here. And I'm going to do it. So if I can do this on this folding card table that's about to fall apart, you'll be able to do this. All you got to do is find something that you can put that on and tap it down with. I need all my pieces now. Is you want to make sure that these holes are going to line up and that this reed is not going to sit up on that lip. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little bit of glue, move my hand so you can see, right on here. Doesn't take much, which is good because there's a not wanting to come out very well. I'm going to lay that on there. Next thing I'm going to do, clean off a little bit of this splinters. I'm going to lay this on there. I'm going to push it down, make sure the holes are lined up, make sure it's where I want it. Then I'm going to take it, I'm going to put some glue on my dowels, and I really want to get that all the way around. The other thing you can do is you can go ahead and just put the glue in the holes. That works too, and put it in one of those holes. And I lied, you might want to tap it again. I can push them in by hand, but it's easier to tap them. Then I'm going to put some more on this one. And put it in there. Before I move on, I need to make sure that I put this piece in place. This assembly, the gear assembly or clicker assembly, is going to fit right inside this hole, and it's going to slide down like that. And that, my friends, is what makes the noise. See how that reed clicks off that? Well, first, to put the other piece on, I've got to line that top hole, just like that. And I'm going to swing it around, I'm going to push it together, get everything all lined up. What I'm looking for is really hard to see. What I'm looking for is this gap right here to close up. And what I want, that reed to be right in the middle so that it's not sitting on either lip, so that I can pull that together. In this case, I'm going to tap it just a little bit. And you'll notice my dowels are sticking out one side, not the other. You have an option. You can stick them out evenly both sides. You can have them stick out one side, you can cut them down, you can sand them off. It really doesn't matter, they're not going to hurt anything. What you don't want to do at this point is you don't want to start swinging it around like that, because this glue is not dried yet. So you can take some tape and you can wrap it around there. You can put rubber bands around there while that dries. Or, in my case, I'm going to take these clamps and I'm going to put them on there, and I'm going to let this sit about half an hour before I take those off. This one is a little tight, so if I hold that reed out of the way and try to spin this, it'll spin, but it takes a little bit of effort. What that means is it's going to be a little harder to twirl around. That will loosen up over time. The challenge we run into with these, as you saw how hard this dowel was to put in this gear here, is that sometimes these dowels swell up a little bit with the humidity and they're a little bigger than what they're supposed to be. And so that's what happens here, makes it a little tighter. But over time, this will loosen up, I assure you. And you can hear how much louder that is already. This one will almost spin on its own. So they're all going to be a little different, which will result in a slightly different tone as well. That is called a what? A matraca. So, enjoy your matraca. Try to be respectful of others with your matraca. But have some fun with it, and let us know how it goes. Let us know if you run into any issues. And as always, if you ever have ideas for projects, please send them our way. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you and have a wonderful day. We will see you next month.